horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, fancied in the morning, continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft. It's not.
It's heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
And a very warm welcome to the Barsters Inquiry Sunday Sermon. I do hope you're having a fabulous Sabbath so far. However, myself, Lee Keys of systembet.co.uk, and my partner in crime, John Leng of John Joe's Blogspot, are now here to probably ruin it. Mr. John Leng, was Friday enough of a dose of the Ginger Hitler for you on Friday's show?
I can't wait for the next one, as long as it's Melbourne Cup Eve or something like that.
He'll be out in his Panzer tank around Saltburn today, I presume, and walking on beach with more landmines and.
Well, I must be looking for punishment because I actually went to a barbecue with his place after the derby yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, and he did all the cooking. It was exceptionally good. I couldn't believe it.
Quite jealous, actually. I bet that'd have been a cracking night.
He made a tremendous job of the group. He really did. Well impressed.
Any pace?
No. Okay. Dog at Eddie Cow.
Splendid. It wasn't a bad show. I think the Hitler actually tipped for a 12-1 winner, I believe.
Yeah, somebody said that.
Slipped my mind. That's under the carpet. That we don't talk that really, do we? It's no good.
No, definitely not.
No good at all. Right, we'll crack on with the show. We've got quite a bit to talk about. We've got several questions, some good ones, and we're going to finish off with covering off the derby and what me and John think going forwards for the staying middle distance 3-year-old colts. If there's anything in there that we've spotted that could find some nice races this season, some for your trackers, whatever. So we'll start with the questions, and I'll start with it's too much for a Sunday, really. Michael Green asking to think. But Michael Green asks, do we as punters have a tendency to pay too much consideration to bigger price market moves than of those heading the market? For example, a horse chalked up, say 18-1 into 5-1 has a reduction factor of 11.4%. Similarly, a 5-4 shot into 4-5 has the same reduction factor in 11%. Both very similar. Betting companies and television pundits make a song and dance about a big gamble, but not the former, especially if it wins, whilst the latter would barely be mentioned. For me, Michael, I get where you're coming from. The maths is correct. However, if you think about it like this, bottom line stuff, and a listener of ours, Nick Davis, will also think like this, is that if you've got an 11% edge on a 33-1 chance, that makes your price 33-1 chance up at around the 6-1 mark. So that's a 1 in 7 chance. So therefore, 1 in 7 of those 33-1 chances are going to win on average, which then means, so you stake 7 bets, you've won 33, you are now sort of 26 points up over those 7 bets. So over each 7 bet period, you should be winning 26 points over the 7 bets. You do the same for a 5-4 shot, that makes it 4-5. And let's be generous, let's say 4 out of those 7 bets win. That's a 2 points profit in every 7 bets because you return 9 points from your 4 winners. So the point is that's why they make a song and dance about it, because basically the bottom line, whenever you're punting big prices, you're going to make far more money. That's, as long as you can get on, which is not easy in this day and age, you're going to make more money. John, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think everyone loves the big price gamble anyway, because basically it means it's been missed by the by the form book by everyone. It's kind of considered shrewd because to obviously to be 33-1, you've not really got much chance. You've basically 1 in 34 chance. So therefore, when it's gambled into 6s, 5s, whatever, it's kind of they've fooled the public, if you like, because the public haven't spotted it. So I think that's why it's a song and dance about it, Michael. But you do make a fair point on maths, so I'm giving you that. But yeah, that's why, in our opinion, me and John think so. Second question is from John Smith, and he says, question for the podcast. John, do Rule 4s apply to anti-post, non-runner, no bets?
Despite the protestations of plenty of people this week after the late withdrawal in the Derby and of the Hayden horses and everything else, no. The reason being, basically, if you're taking an anti-post price in good faith, why do you deserve to be hit with a Rule 4 just because the bookmakers want to put a non-runner no-bet concession on? Bookmakers have to take that on the chin, rightly so.
Yeah, we talked about this pre-show, and you sort of like put me right on this. I think you're spot on. I think that I was thinking that maybe he does get taken into account, because I don't do much anti-post punting really. It's totally right. If they offer that concession, then they're going to stand to it. It's tough. If favourite gets pulled out, tough. They've got to stand to it, because you're just on a non-runner no bet rule. So from that point, so John's right. I think it should be no Rule 4. So I don't know anyone that's experienced that. If you want to get in touch with us on that subject, maybe enlighten us on experiences you've had with that.
We're like the old green sale service now on the Spartan Life.
Absolutely, yeah. IBAS, yeah, IBAS. They were useless as well. Yeah. Anyway, right, we move on to more Epsom-related questions, obviously, because we're covering off the Derby and what we think. And Jay Punter's got in touch, and it sounds like he's had a torrid time with the classics. Jay Punter. He says, as a form book punter, John, has this been the most frustrating flat season ever? Epsom winners yesterday, 28-1, 18-1, 25-1, 16-1. How do you go about playing these big race markets?
Well, Christ, he's making a very early call, to be honest. There was no lad I used to know, and he always used to say to me, never have a bet after the Ledger, but never have a bet before the Derby.
Yeah.
And, it didn't give you much of a win, but he used to do all right, this old lad.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a little bit of magic in it that up until Epsom, really, they're probably still sorting themselves out to a certain degree, and you can't be too confident about anything. The Derby's turning into a funny race for me. For years and years and years, it habitually threw up the best horse in the race, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was as though the course had some kind of magic about it, that it could sort out the best prospect in the race. But of late, I don't know. This thing was. I had to take him out for a try and hurdle, I have to be honest. I could not say this winning yesterday. Whether it's improved enormously at home, I doubt it very much. Apparently, Appleby had to have his arm twisted nearly halfway up his back to run it.
Yeah.
Well done on your tip, Mojo Star, that chased him home. But, as we discussed before the show, we couldn't have that running to a ridiculous level like what you could have been giving Derby winners in the past.
No, I wasn't talking winning the Derby in the preview. I was merely highlighting it couldn't be that price, and we could have some fun with some exotics or maybe some place bets. Really, that was all it was. Yeah.
We've had a fairly unregarded Oaks winner. She's got stuffed more times than enough as a 2-year-old, and then she's come out relatively unfancied in a trial in Rosadora, ponced up, still hasn't encouraged Ryan Moore to get off a maiden winner after she's won a Group 3 or Group 2, whatever it is in Rosadora. There was never any suggestion Ryan Moore was going to ride her in the Oaks. She's gone and won by 6 wickets. If there was a race in a fortnight with the Derby winner and the Oaks winner in, what would you back?
Very, very good question. Very, very good question. That I'm going to say the Derby winner on that because of the times. I was quite unimpressed by the Oaks time. In fact, then again, I might have got that wrong in a way because it was slower than the Coronation Cup. But then I'm not considering weight for age, am I? You know, I mean, when you take the weight for age into it, to be honest, no, just forget what I've just said. I mean, it was slightly slower than the Coronation Cup. Yeah. I mean, I need to look at the Oaks in more depth, I think, to see if that either flatters it or it is genuine. Like you said, the thing is, we said this about Aiden's before, though, John. Like, he seems to get slow burners. Like where they sort of they finish in third in maidens at Gowran Park, getting beat by handicappers, and all of a sudden they just take off, and then they'll win a listed race, and then he steps them up to a group 2, and then they finish in second in that, and you think, well, they're all right, but and then all of a sudden they're coming out at 3, and he's done this before, you know. I mean, was it Winter? I think was getting beat at 2. I could be wrong. It might be wrong horse I'm thinking of, but it was one deep. Really, it could have been Love. Was it Love? No, it can't be Love. Was it Love?
No, well, Papin Farm, that run loads of times, didn't it?
Could have been that. You know, it's like for some reason some just really developed late. Which is, you come back to the point that you said in reply to Jay Punter, where you said about the chap that said don't have a bet before the Derby or after the Ledger, and that's an old, you know, piece of wise words there, because you think about the rate horses mature, you've got more of an idea now about everything. There's you can see horses progressing physically, you can see horses that are now becoming the finished article, and there's a lot of sense to that. Because it has been difficult to predict. I won't lie, it's not been easy.
Well,
but
no,
I think
you can go back like 6 weeks, and John Leeper was full of promise. And you watch the Derby yesterday, you'd bet all hell he's been Dunlopped. You know, and you know, you'd be concerned about his future for the rest of the season. Now after that,
yeah,
he folded up like a cardboard box, didn't he?
Might have been too much too soon for him. It's just you know, like
Newcastle Dunlop, didn't he?
Dunlops, yeah, Dunlops and Johnston.
Well, the minute he was named after the old fella, he was going to Epsom, wasn't he? You know, yeah. And that's where you worry about horses being in certain people's hands.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, this Aiden thing with the slow burners, I think it's a case of it's training methodology we need to get used to, because if say, for example, Stout has a similar type, he'll just run it once before it's 4-year-old. You know, and Aiden's not asked if he gets it beat 14 times.
I think that's it. I think we used to National Hunt crowd as well. So, like, the National Hunt crowd now have become, you can't get beaten. You know, it's like with every champion you've got, it's not like Desi, we'll run it 50 kilo overweight in Jim Ford, you know, and we're not bothered if we get beat. It's like all these stars now, they do race course preps. They don't go on track and with a trainer warning saying this is as fat as butter, but we thought you'd like to see him, and we'll give it our best. But obviously, it's not the plan today. We you know, we've got to run. We need to run somewhere, but they just won't run them.
And what you've got to remember as well about the whole Ballydoyle setup is that while Aidan O'Brien's the front man and standing there saying listen to this, listen, all the rest of it, John Magnet is the one driving the bus.
Yeah.
And he loves nothing more than a proven, hard-running mare. If you've got a mare that's run 25 times before being shipped off to stud, he'd be all over that.
Yeah.
Because he loves soundness, he loves a genuine attitude, and he really doesn't give a monkey's for brilliance on the damn side, but he loves a stallion that you build a statue to on it.
Yeah. Which we'll get on to. I'll come back to this when we look through the derby, because there's a point here that obviously I think applies here. But I'll just get on to further questions. Frankie on the blowers being on, he says, how come Adair changed the form around from Lingfield with third realm by 15 lengths? Appleby wasn't even going to run Adair, which you just highlighted, John, until his boss told him to. I saw third realm. It was pulling like Boris Johnson for first 3 furlongs, and it wasn't the same ride and race as Lingfield. It just wasn't. He couldn't win for me after 2 furlongs third realm. But that's what I saw.
Yeah, I'd rock along with that. I think third realm, along with several others, ran a pretty piss poor race.
Yeah.
To be fair, the favourite gets struck into. There's a video going the rounds of the one that looks like he was looking at to sever a tendon.
Yeah.
We saw Jim's horse and John Leaper make a bold move just on straightening up that lasted all of 100 yards before John Leaper folded up, and Jim's horse pretty much flattened out as well. I don't think Jim's horse stayed, or was maybe doing a shade so much in Manning's hands. But I think you can watch that derby back and back and back, and probably make excuses for maybe 6 or 7 of them running well below form there. But I'm loath to really knock this winner, because he's tight physically, whether I was saying he was a trying third loss or not, he's a good sort. He just wouldn't be the type that screams derby at you, as you were saying to me earlier, it's a waste of time looking for a ledger horse now if this was going to Doncaster. But we'll have to see.
Well, let's go on then. Let's start with the derby then. But I think we need to kick off the derby with the first thing that I think it will have pissed Ian Davis off as well, with his anti-purse voucher on the William Haggis runner, which was Mahafa, which William pulled out due to unsuitable ground. Now, the interesting thing here, the ground didn't turn out that bad, and secondly, why did William turn up walking the course, John, in his shagging shirt?
I was a bit perplexed at that. I've seen several trainers turn up at Epsom on Derby Day, and I've yet to see one turn up in the shagging shirt. and yet there he was, in full-on shag mode, wasn't he? That was a call. He was on the promise there, on the way back to Maureen, I think, It was absolutely astonishing. I found myself thinking, well, where the hell's the suit that's going to match that?
Yeah, medallion, etc. Yeah,
amazing.
It was all there. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, wow. It was a genuine wow moment for the mate in that.
Yeah.
Insofar as I didn't even know he had a shirt like that.
Yeah.
But kudos to the man.
That's it. A belter of a shirt from William Haggis. It got everyone going, that on Twitter. It certainly got me going when I saw the picture. I'm thinking, wow, where are you off to next? It's good stuff, William, there.
As regards where he was off to next, I thought he'd have been off up to the clerk's office to give him a stroke across the jaw, but he was mildly, he was quite restrained about it all, I thought, when he was on the telly. Cooper must be quite well got with these people. He's had Nick Lux sticking up for him, and now Posh Willie doesn't have a real dig, so I think Cooper's got friends in high places, I think.
At first, obviously I was very vociferously critical for producing a national Flat Oaks. And, the defence of it by the media was for me just wrong. But then in hindsight, Captain Hindsight, we know the Derby course dries out well. Was William justified pulling it out? In the end, what do you think?
Yes, because I think it's a horse that wants a bit of. It's not just good ground it wants. I think it wants a bit of proper bounce ground.
Yeah, rattling ground. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the type of horse you could probably send to America and do rather well in their turf races. And be a bit more confident about getting your ground, because you could be pissing into the wind for 2 seasons, are you?
Yeah.
With what our clerks can get away with.
That's a fair comment. I kind of see it. I can see why people are saying, why are you not running on sort of near good ground? It wasn't. It was probably just bordering on good, like you said, just the slightest tinge slower side of good. There was fresh ground to that far rail, so that probably helped. But yeah, it's a tough one. I do get why people also defend Clarks of the courses, but I don't get the reasons why they defend them, because they say things like it's for the safety of the horses. There is, like you've said, John, and you've said this many a time, there is zero data, nil, nada, to say that overwatered or even watered ground saves horses' lives or makes horses not, whatever.
There's no stats that ever mention watered ground.
No. I mean, I've owned horses before where I've had jockeys tell me after the race she or he didn't let himself down on the ground, because horses are quite smart also. They're not, I mean, some are stupid, but the horses are quite smart. And if they're on ground where it either hurts or it's not, they're not striding properly, they will not extend. So it usually would save injury because of that reason. It's that simple. And only Nick Luck's statement saying, well, it was a real strong statement saying, well, if you've watched Epsom over the years, you'll understand why he's had to water. I have absolutely, there's been real. Praceway Workforce won in 2 minutes 31, which was 5.5 seconds quicker than that.
I'm sorry, Mick looks, and if you've ever watched Epsom, that's probably coming from a man who's watched Epsom for about 20 years, because there's been a bloody good salary in it. There's people who've been watching Epsom 40 odd year, and remember horses like heavy topped horses like Nijinsky, Saraiva, Golden Fleece. There wasn't this penchant for watering then, and none of those horses came back jarred up or anything like that. And they all coped with it,
Absolutely. It's a sad sight. What we've got. And Catherine, by the way, touched on it. Catherine sort of said about how, because of society's attitudes, i.e., to the Grand National, etc., and other races, we're now dealing. All of a sudden, the word "firm" in the description is like an animal rights issue. Don't you dare have any kind of firm in the where it's too fast, it's dangerous. It's where has this come from? It's mental, absolutely mental, and bad for the game, because a lot of these horses that race in the summer need this fast ground. They actually genuinely need it, and trainers seem to be going along with it. We don't want to jar him up. It's a long season. Well, if it's a long season, just don't run it till autumn then. It's just whatever.
You can't make it up, honestly. The attitudes of some of these people that's advocating watering non-stop, it's unbelievable.
Exactly. So we want to, here at the Bar Stewards, we want to see the evidence. All this claptrap from anyone on Twitter, any media pundits, I want evidence. I want data to say that fast ground and good to firm ground makes horses break down and is at high risk of breaking down. I want to see those stats. I'll be waiting a long time. Anyway, we'll move on to the Derby itself as in form-wise, John, and we'll go through some of the runners. So obviously, we've talked about Adair a lot. I think me and you are very similar on assessing the rating of this horse. My reasons is that Midnight Legend, that's the sire. Anyway, the handicap winner and the one that, yeah. Oh, is it? Yeah, King's Off, sorry. In the handicap, it won in 7 lengths slower than the Derby. So if you just do basic handicapping, that was carrying 9 stone 3. Adayar was carrying 9 stone. Adayar won the race in 7 lengths quicker. So weight for age at this time of year is £15. So with that all in, if you say Midnight's Legacy has ran to 95, you add the £15 weight for age, that's 110, and then you add the distance that it won by, which was the time difference, which was 7 lengths quicker, which is about £9. That's 119, but it carried £3 less, so that's 116. So I'm around the 116, 117 mark for the winner. John, are you around that mark?
I'll give it 114.
Yeah.
Again, it's similar methodology, really.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we can guarantee that the form book. I'm just looking now. Actually, the Racing Post top speed figures come back quite high. They've given it 115, so you can bet your life that the official BHA mark will be 120 plus. I would imagine, which I think's a tad high for now. Until I see sort of like more evidence, but I think it's a tad high at 120 plus. But I think that's what's coming, because they love to rate, and naturally so. They want to. They're trying to promote like the classics, and they need a champion. They need a star. So I think we'll go to town on this and give this a pretty lofty rating than what me and John think. Down the field, John, anything that sort of caught your eye for the future, or just something that you could maybe eye up for? If you won one of these, you've got all sorts coming. You've got Ascot, you've got the Gordon Stakes at Goodwood, you've got the Voltager. Is there anything that you've seen amongst these that sort of what you'd do with them if you own them?
I think one roller, I'd probably go for that mile 5 and a bit Ledger Trail at Goodwood. I think that looks as though it's going to stay pretty well. That was one that gave me a bit of hope for the Ledger.
Yeah.
In the main, what the race flagged up to me, really, there was a lot of concerns about some of these horses for the future. There's me sirens going off. Bang on cue. Gear Up's running like a dead horse. John Leaper, I mentioned before, he folded up like a cardboard box. He could have serious mental issues after being sent there. Bolshoi Ballet was about 3/4 of an inch off losing a leg.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty to be concerned about out the also runs.
Well, this is the thing, when I always say to people, when you're handicapping and you're trying to come up with a rating and a figure, the thing for me is like Third Realm finished 5th and was beaten a long way. So people are saying, well, what's amazing is, so if you look on the Racing Post site, the Racing Post ratings have Third Realm running £3 below its official mark. Well, that's bullshit. I mean, if that's run £3 below its official mark, is John Nolan driving these? And he's Swarfega waders. I
think this England match, it must all be kicking off. They've taken the knee yet again, and they've booed. Caused a racket of racism in Middlesbrough because everybody in Middlesbrough lives next door to one, but they don't like them. So they're clearly boating up to some extent here, and it's all calling all cars, get down on the riverside quick. Somebody spotted a brown face. Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. It's kicking off down the riverside in the England football. Yeah, but yeah, so back to it. So this is the thing about Third Realm. So what rating do you put on Third Realm for pulling so hard? And it's unlikely it's got to anywhere near 108 on what I saw. Yet the racing purse have said 105. Well, that's not accurate, which means the winner's rating is not accurate, and that's the point about handicapping. I always say to people, try and get a good yardstick that you think's actually run its race properly, and then do it through that, and it kind of makes a little bit more sense. And I think me and John.
I think if you look to go as low as you possibly can, you can't go far wrong with handicapping, because when something finally forces your hand and makes you give it a rating £10 in advance of whatever it's done, you know then that you're absolutely bang on, because you've tried everything to get this rating down.
Absolutely.
And you can't, you know.
I mean, we say, if we own Max Swiney, we'd be saving that for autumn. You'd turn up at Ascot champion, wouldn't you? Or Mile.
I think you'd have to go for champion, wouldn't you?
It's 6 inch deep, and it'll win by 17 lengths.
Because Jim said it would stay, no problem, and it's a bit debatable whether it stayed yesterday. Just out of pure badness, Jim will want this to win over at least a mile and a quarter on Champions Day.
Yeah,
he can probably go to the QE2 quite confident, but it's Jim, so it'll be running in the Champions Stakes, I would have said.
Yeah. Another thing about handicapping, so Hurricane Lane apparently lost both its front shoes. Lost both, right? Yeah, that's, according to Racing Post, banter form. This is the thing about, you need a little bit of skill here to apply, and anyone can do it. You just apply logic and common sense, and you can see already that they rated the Derby form probably a little bit too high. And as Frankie on the blower, he said, why has Third Realm got beat so far? You can guarantee if that met the winner again at, say, Ascot, and they both ran the races, there might be a couple of lengths between them. It's that kind of thing, really. Sometimes things get exacerbated by, like certain circumstances. And my honest belief is not many in behind have ran their true races or anywhere close. Moho Star, who I liked. It's not, I think it's a bit much to put it on, 115 plus. It's a bit much. I would say, like, middle, sort of like 105, 106 to 109 is feasible. But yeah, this is the thing about handicapping. But going forwards, I'm a bit concerned already about the Derby form, because the only two I'd take out of it really for now, maybe the third as well, Hurricane Lane, but the front two, which are Adayar. What will be that in the ledger? Nothing, nothing at all. And Moho Star. And by the way, the one that beat Moho Star, John, I wanted to bring this up. Manobo. It's a gelding, which is a shame, but this horse looks an absolute machine.
It could be one of the ones, couldn't it?
It was all over the place at Kempton still. He didn't know what it was doing. It was like, what's this? It's a bend. It's another bend. All right. It's won 4 1/4 pulling a cart, and I know they like the fellows horse, Mr. Curiosity. I know they like that horse a real lot, and it destroyed it. And I just think you might get, put it this way: if you said to me, who would you back in a 2-horse race, the Derby winner or Manobo? I'm having to think twice, and I honestly don't. For now, I don't know. If they met in a race, what would you back? I wouldn't know. Manobo, I think,
Well, maybe Charlie Appleby was so chuffed after the Derby. It was nothing to do with winning the Derby. He had won 6 lengths better at home.
He could well be.
Has that happened before? Anybody's won a Derby and they've got one that can wipe the floor with it?
Absolutely. So this is one thing you get out of this show. You're getting a surefire. I think this is Group 1 Manobo. So that's where I'd play it. Wherever Manobo turns up next, hammer it the night before on the prices. I think he's a machine. He's just not that quite there mentally. That's probably why they had to geld him. He's probably just he's like Willie Agus. He's got his shirt on and he's ready.
He's got his shagging shirt on every time he goes to the races. This one, isn't he?
That's why they've gelded him. Yeah. Anyway, right. So just to finish the show off, I'm gonna. Have you got any Jimmy Lindley, John?
I haven't. No.
Well, I'll just finish the show off with a Jimmy Linley for our listeners, because I know you like the odd tidbit here and there with horses. And I spotted one actually, and it was today of all days, and it was at Kilbeggan. We love an Irish spotter. 120 at Kilbeggan today. Galley Flight, trained by Philip Fenton and ridden by Jamie Hayes, claiming the 4. This horse was, I don't think it was that busy. And secondly, it wants a lot further. It wants 3 miles. It's been running over 2 miles, 2 mile 2. If this gets 110 or less as a handicap mark, you can absolutely follow this over a cliff when it gets 3 miles or 2 3/4 miles plus over hurdles. So that's Galley Flight today, 120 at Kilbeggan. Really caught my eye. I think there's a lot more to come from that horse. Real lot more. Real dower. Very, very dower. So watch out for that in future. Right, I hope you have enjoyed our ramblings, our musings. As always, been fun. Me and John love the show, and we appreciate all your questions and everything you send in, because it helps make the show. And so we appreciate that. And we'll be back on Friday as usual, covering next weekend's fair. And we also have a special guest lined up for next week's Sunday sermon from Dan South. You know, and we get a different level of humour when we get Dan South on here. So, yeah, that's all from me and John today. We hope you enjoyed the show. Have a great week. Bye for now.